What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Zeb, and good evening to you, and welcome to the Rehab Christian Center live virtual experience. It is Life Study Night, Tuesday night, and grateful to be here with you, and I'm really excited about this series and finishing up this series. We have been talking for the last 5 weeks. This is week 6 on the series, You're Not Weird, You Are Called, and it has been rather a very powerful series, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to have been able to teach this. I do a lot of work with a lot of very creative and innovative people who do a lot of different things in a lot of different industries. And so these conversations are commonplace for me, even in business and in industry and in professional settings. But I've really enjoyed bringing this to this space, and certainly hope this has been a blessing to you. Listen, I want to run through the channels really quickly. I've got a hard stop tonight at 7:55. And so I want to go ahead and get into this fifth and final way you know you are called, and fifth and final way you know you're chosen. And so I want to get through this tonight. I promise to have you off at 7:55 sharp tonight. So let's walk through the networks. Good evening, Facebook. Let's start there. It's good to see you tonight virtually. Certainly praying that you've had a phenomenal week so far. Do me a favor, if you're on Facebook, I want you to like this video or love this video. I want you to share this video, tag 5 people, hit that @ symbol and tag 5 people and tell them to tune in tonight for part 6 of a very powerful series. And I promise you, you'll be blessed, and everybody that you tag will be blessed tonight as well. So hit that @ symbol, tag 5 people, tell them to tune in, and make sure you say good evening in the chat box. Let me know you're there. Instagram, good evening to you. Thank you so much, those of you that have tuned in so far. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do me a favor, fill it up with hearts. Let me know you're watching. Feel free to say good evening in the chat box area. And then if you're on Instagram, I want you to hit that @ symbol and tag 5 people on your page, 5 of your followers, 5 of your connections, and tell them to tune in tonight for a very powerful message. I'm so excited to bring this message to you all tonight again. We are talking on the series, You're Not Weird, You Are Called. And it has been powerful, especially for those of you that are innovators and creatives, operating in creative spaces. I know this conversation has been powerful and enlightening to you, and I'm excited to bring, again, part 6 to you tonight. So Instagram, good evening to you. Fill it up with hearts. Hit that @ symbol. Tag 5 people. Tell them to tune in. YouTube, good evening to you. Those of you that are tuned in via YouTube, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And certainly praying that you are having also a phenomenal week as well. If you're on YouTube, I want you to hit the heart button. If you're on YouTube, like this video. I want you to hit subscribe and subscribe to our channel. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, you can find us on any, for all of you that are on any network, you can find us on YouTube at TheREHABCC. That's at TheREHABCC on YouTube. But I want you to like our channel, subscribe to our channel, share this video on YouTube, share the link, and somebody's going to be a blessing because you did it tonight. I'm excited to be here. Again, I'm jumping right in. I've got a hard stop at 7:55. And so I'm excited to give you the fifth and final reason, or sign rather, that you know you are not weird, but you're called. And tonight's going to be another powerful night. So again, I need you to share this video. I need you all to start hitting that @ symbol. I don't see y'all, especially on Facebook, sharing this video. I need you to share this right away. If you're on Facebook, hit that @ symbol. Don't just come to church and not invite anybody. Hit that @ symbol and tell them to tune in. I've got to get started tonight, and I'm ready to jump right in. And so we've been talking about this for the last, again, 5 weeks. This is week number 6 for us. And we have been talking, again, from this subject, You're Not Weird, You're Called. And it's a powerful subject, especially for those of you who are innovators and creatives, and see yourselves operating in very unique spaces, because oftentimes you have to fight against what is very convenient, and that is being like everybody else and blending like everybody else and thinking like everybody else and functioning like everybody else. And so part of being called, and again, remember, for the last 5 weeks, we have not been using the word called in the context of ministry. You may have a calling to be an entrepreneur. You may have a calling to run a nonprofit. Whatever your calling is, the word calling, it's not just synonymous with ministry stuff, right? Your calling really speaks to your purpose and your passion. And we really established that foundation really strongly in week 1. But regardless of what your calling is, understand that it is convenient for you to give into the pressure to be common like everybody else, and to be ordinary like everybody else and to have a perspective that's like everybody else. And so part of what makes you unique is the fact that you're willing to have your own perspective and your own approach and see things the way you see them. And so I want to challenge you tonight with this fifth and final way that you may know that you are not weird, but that you're called. And I really hope that all of these things have really been piling together and making a lot of sense to you when you really put it all together. Again, we want, and let me just run through the reasons really quickly for those of you that may be tuning in tonight for the first time, or those of you that are watching the replay that started at the end and not at the beginning. Sign number one was you are completely uncomfortable with crowds and boxes. Sign number two, you have no desire at all to be called. And we really spent a lot of time that week talking about people who are gifted and a lot of times don't even know they're gifted, or they know they're gifted and they don't even want the gift. Sign number three, your gifts are incredible flaws. All right. Sign number four, we talked about this last week. Your calling has created an identity challenge where you are stuck between your current condition and what your life looks like now versus what you know you've been called to be in the future. And oftentimes what you're going to be in the future and what you are now are not always the same things. And so you're stuck in that middle funky place between where you're going and where you are. And it was a very powerful week last week. Sign number five, that you know you are that you know you're called, that you know you're chosen, is this. I want you to record this. Sign number five is simple. You are annoyed with mediocrity. You are annoyed with mediocrity. Sign number five that you know you are called is when you get annoyed with mediocrity. All right. Sign number four, that you know you're called, you get annoyed. I'm sorry, sign number five, you get annoyed with mediocrity. There's something that I found that is in common with called and chosen people, and that is they don't like average. They don't like mediocrity. They don't like just enough. And this lack of interest in average or mediocrity or just enough not only impacts what they do from a professional standpoint, from a way of living standpoint, it impacts their relationships and their connections. They don't even like average relationships. They don't even like average connections, right? And so sign number five that you know you might be called or chosen is when you are easily annoyed with mediocrity. You are easily annoyed with mediocrity. Again, I want you to like this video, share this video, subscribe to our channels. Let's dive into this a little bit. And so this sign is a really good one because when you know, again, you are chosen to do something great, right? You are chosen to be an innovator. You're chosen to operate in a space that maybe has never been carved out before. Then you understand that there is nothing average, basic, or common about you, right? And so again, when you know you've been called or chosen, there's nothing average about you. There's nothing basic about you. And there's nothing common about you. I don't want you to forget that. There's nothing average about you. There's nothing basic about you. And there's nothing common about you. And this is really where, when we think about all of the five signs, in many ways, this is where the proverbial rubber kind of meets the road. You know, everybody thinks they're innovative until we look at the quality or how you perceive quality, how you value quality. Let's be honest. Most people would rather walk around with 100 pennies in their pocket than to have just 4 quarters. We think as a society, as a whole, we think that more is always better. We think that having a lot is better. And I'm here to tell you, quality will always be greater than quantity. Quality, especially in the space of being chosen or called, quality will always be more valuable than quantity. And you should never waste a lot of your time trying to count how much you have. And you should really waste more or spend more of your time trying to count the quality of what you have. See, a lot of y'all want to go on trips this summer. People are going outside. A lot of y'all want to go on trips. And listen, if you go on 10 trips to Charlotte and you live in Greensboro, that's all right. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not knocking that if that's what you want to do. But 10 trips to Charlotte from Greensboro doesn't compare to taking 6 trips out of the country. Yes, you're taking a lesser amount of trips, but the trips are also of a higher quality. And so when you are not average. When you have a unique, chosen, called label on your life or brand on your life, you understand there's nothing average about you. There's nothing basic about you. There's nothing common about you. And again, this applies to your work. This applies to your occupation, right? You don't just take jobs just to pay the bills. There comes a time in every called and chosen person's life where they even make the hard decision between, am I going to do something with my career or occupation just because it pays the bills? Or am I going to do something that really aligns with who I am, that really aligns with the quality of who I am, that really aligns with the quality of my perspective? That's a hard decision for a lot of people to make, for chosen people, for called people. You guys have heard me tell this story so many times. I've walked away from jobs, thousands of dollars, left it on the table, not because those were bad jobs, but because I had to choose between something that was common and something that put me in a space where I could be innovative, something that put me in a space where I could be above average and above basic and above common. And so this impacts your work. This impacts your occupation. This impacts your perspectives. Your perspectives aren't average. Your perspectives aren't basic. When you have a calling on your life, when you have been chosen to do some type of work, typically your perspective, your mindset is different than most. You don't see things necessarily the way everybody else sees them. And we talked about this several times over the last couple of weeks. But again, I want to just reiterate this in the context of being annoyed with mediocrity. When it comes to mediocrity and when it comes to your perspective or mindset, you will know you're called and chosen even when you're surrounded by people who are okay with doing the bare minimum. There are people that are in your circle. There are people that are in your periphery that, believe it or not, are okay with doing the bare minimum. And you're going to know you've got a special, unique calling on your life when you're surrounded by people like that who are okay with doing just enough. And you're sitting there looking like, is this all y'all going to do? You see this a lot in group dynamics. See this a lot in team dynamics. And not only do this in the church space, I do this in the professional space. And even when you work on teams with other people, you tend to have one or two different types of teammates. You have teammates who have been given an assignment, and you all have been given the assignment as a group, and they take the assignment and they're going to do just enough to get the assignment done. All right. And that's your average people. Those are your people that are okay with average, common, basic, we check the box kind of people. Those are those people. And then you have person two, who is, yeah, these are the things we are supposed to do. But not only we're going to do that, we're going to go above and beyond because we want our work to be outstanding. And those are the called people. Those are the chosen people. You see this in all spaces. You see this in work. You see this in business. You even see this in church spaces. The people just want to do things just to get by, just to check the box. And when you just want to check the box, there ain't really nothing special about you. All right. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. I'm saying that to be candid with you. The difference between the chosen and the called and the innovator versus the person that's just average and normal is that average and normal is okay with checking the box. Innovators, people who want to go above and beyond, checking the box ain't enough, right? I was laughing. I remember when we first started doing food giveaways, and our food giveaways have, Lord knows, they've come a mighty long way. But I was looking through some pictures a few weeks ago at our very first food giveaway. And we were at the Donacon Center sitting outside on some coolers. I remember sitting out there and a couple of little kids then who were little then who are now all, teenagers now on my lap. And brother Darren, Elder Darren, who's now deceased, was out there. He had his grill out there, and we were just in the parking lot. And we had a bare table, and we just had food sitting on the table. We was happy to have some paper bags and some food in some bags and to give away some food. And that was the very first food giveaway that we did back. We opened in 2013. So in late 2013 was the very first food giveaway that we did. And it was very basic and it served its purpose. But I look at our last couple of giveaways that we did right before the end of year 7, when we eclipsed feeding and clothing more than 20,000 people in 7 years. And I look at those food giveaways and look at our setup and how it evolved, right? How we then had tables that were cloth. And I told, the staff, don't y'all serve folk food with bare tables. In most settings, that's okay. It don't matter as long as you're getting food. You always have those people in the background. Doesn't matter, Pastor, as long as they're getting food, that's all that matters. No. For me, appearance matters and setup matters. And the professionalism of the setup matters. That's the difference between doing things to check the box. We gave away some food, right? Versus we gave away some food and we did it in an excellent way. And so you're going to know you're an innovator. You're going to know you are operating in innovative spaces when you move from checking the box and you become more concerned with the level of quality. I want you to record this, and this is very important. Called people are always concerned with quality. Called people, chosen people, are always concerned with quality. Called people, chosen people, doesn't matter what you've been called to do, does not matter what you've been chosen to do. Called people and chosen people are always concerned with quality. They could care less about quantity. They could care less about checking off boxes to say they've done something. They are always concerned with quality. Called people, chosen people would rather redo something 10, 15, 20 times to execute it well once versus doing it 2 or 3 times average and saying that they've done something, that they've accomplished something, right? And so called people could care less about the quantity. Called people are always going to be more concerned with quality. And that's very important. When we think about this space of the innovator, when we think about this space of the chosen person, there is a certain level of quality that comes that you come to expect in every area of your life. And again, this ain't just in business. Let's even keep it 100 and talk about relationships. If you're chosen and called in anything, you don't even like average relationships. You don't even want your relationships, your friendships, your connections to be average. Now, I know we're living in a time where a lot of people are okay with just having somebody. As long as you got somebody, you checking off the box. And that's okay if that's what you want to do, if that's what you feel like you've been called to be, if that's what you feel like you've been called to have, it's okay. Check the box and say you got somebody and move on. But even when it comes down to relationships and connections, you're going to know you're chosen to do great things and have great things. You're called to do great things and have great things when you don't even want average relationships. You don't even want average connections in your life. In fact, you are so determined not to have average relationships and average connections that when you measure your circle, you have made up in your mind that when you look at your circle, you want to be the weakest link in your circle. Let me ask you this. When you look at your circle of relationships, when you look at your circle of connections, are you the strongest person in the circle? If you are the strongest person in the circle, I'm here to tell you, you're probably not chosen and called. If you are the strong, I'm going to say it again. If you are the strongest person in your circle of friends, your circle of relationships, your circle of connections, if you're the strongest person in the circle, I promise you, you are probably not called to do anything great. If you are called to do anything great, if you are chosen to do anything great, I want you to take an approach that I take in my personal life. If you're called and chosen to do anything great, the people you are connected to, you are probably the weakest link. And you are probably just grateful that the people that you're connected to in that circle are bringing you along for the ride. See, I think about my circle and the people that I connect with that are doing innovative things. And most of them, I ain't teaching them nothing. They teaching me everything. Most of the time when I'm around them, if we're at dinner, we're just kicking it or hanging it or doing a FaceTime or a Zoom or whatever. and they on the call talking, and I'm listening. Because I've discovered something, that even when it comes down to your relationships, your connections, when you are called to do something great, you ain't the strongest person in your circle. Now don't misunderstand me. There are opportunities where you may mentor other people. Yes, I've got mentees and people that I mentor and develop and coach. There are times where you mentor and train. Yeah, you're going to be the stronger person. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about these relationships and connections that you have. There's no way you can be the strongest person in the circle and say that you're called to do something great and say that you're chosen to do something great. No, you're going to be the weakest person in the crew when you got the right circle and you really have the right calling and you have the right purpose and you've been called and chosen to do something that is innovative, right? And so check your circle. This applies to your relationships too. Again, I said it earlier, I'll repeat this because it's worth bearing. Some of y'all dating average people because your calling is average. Some of y'all dating average people because you don't even really feel like you're chosen like that. And let me tell you something, when you feel like you're chosen like that, when you feel like you called like that, even your selections, who you date, who you are romantically involved with, even those selections are a reflection of your calling. Y'all don't like this here. Even those selections are a reflection of your calling. And they are just as innovative, as creative, as special, as unique as you are. Y'all didn't like that, I know. See, you would rather just check the box and say, I got something. And I'm here to tell you, don't get desperate in your relationship choices. When you're called and when you're chosen, don't get desperate in your relationship choices. Don't get desperate in your marriage choices. Choose choices that reflect the innovation that is your calling. If you got an innovative calling, you ought to have an innovative piece on your arm. I'm trying to help y'all. If you have an innovative calling, you ought to have an innovative hand in your hand. Because your relationships and your connections should be a reflection of your calling. I'm here to tell you, when you ain't average or mediocre, it impacts everything you do. It impacts everything that you connect with. It impacts everything that you latch onto. You don't want nothing. Listen, I'm here to tell y'all, I don't want my calling to be average. I don't want my purpose to be average. I don't want my friendships to be average. I don't want my relationships to be average. I don't want my money to be average. I don't want nothing in my life to be average. Because average is common. When you understand that your life or calling is not average, is not normal, then you make everything in your life raise up to the standard that is your calling and your purpose. And listen, everybody might not understand it. We talked about this a few weeks ago. See, when you're innovative, when you're called, when you're chosen, when you know what you deserve, everybody might not understand the decisions you make. Everybody might not understand the moves that you make. That's okay. It ain't their job to understand your innovation. But when you are called, when you're chosen, when you know your purpose, even your relationships are as unique as your calling. Even your connections are as unique as your purpose. And see, I ain't talking about y'all. I'm just talking about pastor. I don't want y'all to get mad. But when it comes to pastor, everything connected to him is as unique and innovative as he is. And that's the mentality you got to have if you know you're called, if you know you're chosen, if you know you have been prepared to do great things in your life. Is this making sense to anybody? And so there's a certain level of quality that you come to expect with every area of your life. And there are no exceptions. And not only that, it is your pursuit of quality. I want you to record this. It is your pursuit of quality that makes you called. It is your pursuit of quality that makes you called. It is your pursuit. It is your desire for quality that makes you called. Yes, you got a unique purpose. Yes, you got a unique perspective, a unique perspective, but it's also this driven desire for quality that really makes you called, that really makes you chosen. that really makes you stand out for the rest. Listen, and I'll use this example. I've been around people who have less than what I have. I want to say this to you, because it's not, I don't want y'all to equate this to resources. The more resources I have, the more quality I'm going to have. No, it's not necessarily about having more. Again, you got to get out of the quantity mindset. I've been around people who have less than what I have, but they take care of what they have greater than what I take care of what I have. And so it ain't about quantity. You don't need a lot to have quality. You're still in a quantity mindset when you function that way. See, it's about how you take care of what you have. It is about how you covet the quality, how you covet the possessions you have. So this quality mindset, when you really have a quality mindset, you understand that it is the pursuit of quality. It is this drive for quality that makes you call. You may not even have the biggest house, but the house you do have is clean. You may not have 6 bedrooms in your house and 3 bathrooms in your house and a 4-car garage and all of this stuff and a patio and a lake in the back. You may not have all of that stuff. You may have a little 2-bedroom apartment with a living room that you're using as a living room and a dining area. But if it's clean, you ain't got no roaches climbing around everywhere. You ain't got socks all in the corner. You ain't got dust piled up in the corners. Me and my kids were laughing. Our floor, I was telling somebody last week, our floor is so clean, you can eat off the floor. Like literally, if you drop some in here, you can eat. Just pick it up. If you want to blow it off, you can. You ain't got to blow it off. I believe in keeping a clean house. So it ain't about how large your house is. It's about your dedication and commitment to quality. Because when you have a dedication and a commitment and the desire for quality, that's what makes you call. That's what makes you stand out. That's what makes what you have stand out. It ain't about having the most gaudy relationship. And y'all got a marriage page or a relationship page, and you got 50,000 followers. It ain't about that. It's about taking the relationship you got and making it as quality as you can make it. Right? Again, it ain't about the quantity. It's about the quality. And so you have this pursuit of quality, and you desire this quality in everything that is associated to you. And it even bleeds over into this. I'll tell you another sign, and this really connects with sign number 5, right? And just really this being annoyed with mediocrity. I knew I was called to do a unique work in everything that I do, not just ministry stuff, but in business, industry, coaching that I do with clients, corporate clients, individual clients. I knew I was called to do great things and really called to quality when I developed what I called a do it right or don't do it at all attitude. Listen, when you have an attitude that says either we gonna do this right or we not gonna do it at all, it's a good chance you've been called and chosen to do something great. Again, we are living in a society where people would rather check the box. People not double checking and triple checking what they're doing and making sure that what they do is of great quality. People just trying to check the box. People just trying to get paid. People just trying to say they accomplished something, and they ain't paying attention to the details. When you got to do it right or don't do it at all attitude, watch. And this ain't something that's forced. This is natural. Like you got it in your house. You got it in your relationships. You got it at your church. You got it in how you clean. You got it in how you dress. You got it in how you carry yourself. You got it in what you demand from others. When you've got this natural, either we gonna do this right or we ain't gonna do it at all attitude, mentality, it is a good chance you've been called and chosen to do something great. And again, this is what separates the average from the exceptional. This is what separates the average and the mediocre from people who've really been called to do great things, right? You are determined to do it right. 5 Heartbeats reference. I think there was a scene, one of my favorite scenes, where the guy was playing the piano. They had to use the house guy. They was trying to set up the 5 Heartbeats. They didn't want him to do well. So they put the house guy on the piano, and Duck was up there about to have a baby. Because Duck kept saying, that's my music, that's my music, that's my music. And JT was hitting him like, do the moves, and Duck couldn't concentrate. That's my music, that's my music. And finally, Duck had enough. And he went over there and kicked the guy off the thing and started hitting the dun, 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 dun. And then old drunk boy grabbed the mic and said, oh, and held the song, held the note for a long time. And then the parents jumped up. And then he called him down to Eddie Kane. Called him down and said, let's do it like we do in the rehearsal. And they came down there. He said, listen, if we ain't going to do it right, we ain't going to do it at all. You got to have that mentality. Why am I talking about the 5 heartbeats? You got to have that mentality when you've been called to do something unique. When you've been called and chosen to do something great, you have a mentality where you refuse to cut corners. I want you to record this. I want you to record this. Chosen people don't cut corners. Chosen people never cut corners. Chosen people, called people, never cut corners. They don't cut corners. They don't try to do stuff just to try to hurry up and do it, to say they checked the box and they did something, or to say they checked the box and they had some. Chosen people don't get unaccredited degrees. I'm about to make some of y'all mad. If you're going to get a degree and go back to school, get it from an accredited institution. And stop walking around here calling yourself Dr. such and such and Reverend such and such. And you went to school for 16 months and you claim you got a PhD degree. Y'all stop that. Y'all stop. Yeah, I'm calling you out. I meant what I said. Y'all stop. Chosen people don't cut corners. Called people don't cut corners. You want a PhD? Go to school for 4 to 6 years. An accredited school. Write a dissertation. Defend that dissertation. Y'all don't like the way I'm talking. You want to sell real estate? Stop being out here on the corner hooking and trying to flip houses without a real estate license. Go to real estate school. Take the test. Take the exam. Pass the exam. Y'all stop trying to cut corners. This is the problem I got with church. This is the problem I got with church circles right here. And this is why I don't get invited to the convocation circuit. Because you ain't about to be around me in a pulpit talking about some you doctor such and such. Because I'm going to ask you. I'm going to lean over and say, where you get your PhD from? Where you get your doctorate from? And if you tell me you got your doctorate from Grand Canyon and it was in Miami, Florida, ain't no Grand Canyons in Miami, Florida. If you want to be a doctor, go to school. If you want to be a mechanic, get the certification. Well, Pastor, I've been fixing cars for years and I learned how to fix cars without a mechanic. That's great. I'm not doubting your talent. I'm not doubting your ability, but it's the difference between being average and being chosen to be a mechanic. If you've chosen to be a mechanic, you may have the skills without the certification. Go to school and get the certification. Because see, when you go to school and get the certification and you put the certification on top of the skills, what does it do to your value? It takes it through the roof. Can I help y'all? I was smart before I got a PhD. The PhD just took my value and shot it through the roof. PhDs don't make you smart. PhDs just add value to smartness that's already there. I'm trying to help you. If you can fix cars before you get a certification as a mechanic, getting a mechanic certification doesn't teach you necessarily to fix cars if you already knew how to fix them. What it does is it increases the value that you already have. Chosen people don't cut corners. Y'all stop cutting corners. If you want real value, go through whatever the process that it takes for you to have the value that you're trying to claim. And see, and that's something that innovators can't stand. I know y'all don't like this. I'm going to get talked about. I don't care. Y'all stop letting people trick you out of these degrees. And you didn't pay $40,000 for a fake degree. Stop. Y'all stop. If you want a degree, a real degree, get a real degree from an accredited institution. So that when you call yourself Dr. such and such, or Miss such and such with a master's degree, or Mr. such and such with this certificate, it don't matter what, you can hold your head up knowing you went through a process to receive it. And that's the problem. We live in a day and time where everybody wants a credential, nobody wants a process. Everybody wants a title, Nobody wants a process. I'll end with this story. I don't know if my parents are on tonight. But I say this with complete love and reverence for them, and especially my father. I was credentialed an elder, I think, what was it, year 2 or year 3? I can't even remember when rehab started. When I started rehab, I was just a minister, and I was given permission by my father to start rehab. Now, this is the story, and I've shared that story. I may have shared this story before online. I can't remember, but this is a story. I asked my daddy about rehab 3 years before it started. I asked my daddy about rehab 3 years before it started. Daddy, I think I've been called to do some kind of Bible study or something. Maybe in Grace, I'm not sure. Daddy said, okay, we'll pray about it. We'll wait and see. Let's hold on. And 3 years passed before he said yes. Let me tell you what I didn't do. I didn't ask him every week, hey, Daddy, have you thought about it? 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 No, you know what I did? I asked him that one time. And then for the next 3 years, what did I do? I put my head down and I worked. I kept serving, kept learning how to preach, kept learning how to serve, kept learning how to function in ministry, kept learning how to follow behind him. I did all of this stuff for 3 years. And then finally we downstairs in the basement of the old church. He looks at me and says, yeah, I think it's about that time. We'll visit this in about a year. I was still a minister. I started rehab as a minister. You don't see that. You don't see a lot of people start churches as a minister. Normally, they're at least an elder. That thing really startled me because years later, 2-3 years later, Dad says, hey, you'll be christening people. I need to make you an elder. So he makes me an elder. Go to church. I took a handful of people. I think Elder Misty was there, Sister Patricia, a handful of y'all that went. I didn't want a lot of people. It was real impromptu. It was at the service. He called me up. He anointed me, did all this. It was a real informal service. And that thing really got to me because I was like, well, I don't want people to think, I can't do, licensing, and I can't, perform, christenings and things like that because I'm just a minister. But then that thing hit me. He was really teaching me something. Titles don't prepare you. See, when you get a title of something, the title should just validate what you already have. When I became an elder, people wasn't like, oh, wow, he's an elder now. No, people was like, oh, I already thought he was an elder. You get the difference? People weren't like, oh, man, he's an elder. Wow, congratulations. I had no idea. People was like, what? Like, I had people calling me elder years ago. Heck, I don't want it. I'm going to be honest. I got people calling me bishop now. I don't want that. But you know what they're really saying? You're doing the work of something you don't have the title for. See, when you need a title to validate you, you are working in reverse order. I didn't need a PhD to prove I was smart. I was smart before I got a PhD. And see, that's how it works for people who have a real calling, who have a real purpose. And so again, you don't get caught up on titles, but more than that, you don't settle for average or mediocrity. You don't want nothing about your life. Your business, you ain't going to run your business mediocre. I don't care if you've been in business for 10 years and you got 3 customers. Treat them customers 5-star. If you've been called to do that business, if you've been called to run that business, treat them 3 little customers you got 5-star. This is something I'm really going to hamper down on rehab when we open up the doors again. They ain't gonna even know what's gonna hit them, because one of the things the Lord really arrested me on is even when it comes to rehab, I gotta crack the whip a little bit more when it comes to the quality of the experience at rehab. Yeah, we got good church, we got great singing, we got average preaching, we got great singing. But let me tell you something: the quality of the experience has to be a reflection of the quality of the leader, and right now that ain't it. That ain't it. I be Gucci down, folk be wearing a Lacoste. This ain't it. And so the quality of everything you do has to reflect your purpose, has to reflect your calling, has to reflect the uniqueness of who it is that you've been called to be. All right. And when you do, then you refuse to settle for average. You refuse to settle for mediocrity. Does this make sense, y'all? I'm done with the series. Did this bless anybody tonight? Y'all see how fast I hit this? And I'm going to be done in 7 minutes. Y'all see how fast I hit this? Did this bless anybody tonight? Did this series bless anybody tonight? You know, some of you need to go back and watch part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then watch this part. Because I'm here to tell you, many of you have such unique callings on your life and such unique purposes on your life. And there are unique plans that God has placed on your life that you're going to do unique and innovative things. But let me tell you something. When you're going to operate in quality, everything in your life has to be quality. You know, your business can't be Gucci, but your relationships came from Kmart. Are y'all listening to me? Some of y'all got Gucci businesses with Kmart relationships. You got Gucci educational backgrounds, but you got Walmart jobs. And nothing wrong with Walmart, y'all. Nothing wrong with Kmart. Don't y'all take this for catch the analogy. Right? You can't have, you know, a Gucci mentality, but you got Lacoste relationships. Everything in your life should reflect the quality of the calling in your life. Everything. And if it doesn't, make the adjustments. Make the adjustments so that the quality is there, so that the attention to detail is reflective in every area of your life. It is reflective of the unique calling and purpose that you have. Listen, y'all, it's time to pray. You got prayer requests tonight? I want you to type it in the comments right now. I hope this message, this series blessed y'all. I enjoyed this series. As you can see, I'm just getting comfortable and getting warmed up because this is something I can talk about all day. You know, people have visited rehab before, and, you know, they will come and they'll be like, wow, I expected like it'd be like 500, 600, 700 people there. They're not insulting me when they say that. What they're saying is the quality of your word and the quality of your ministry is reflective of what I anticipated seeing. That ain't an insult. Understand that when you have a unique calling and purpose and you're walking in that purpose in quality, then there is automatically a demand that is placed on every area of your life. You can't, again, be Kmart in one area and Gucci in another. Every area of your life has to be in alignment with the quality of the purpose and the calling that you have on your life. Listen, y'all got a prayer request? I want you to type it quickly. Come on. I'm giving you 40 seconds. I can spare 40 seconds. I'm giving you 40 seconds. I want you to type your prayer request in the comments right now. I'm praying for you. I've been praying all week long, 4:30 in the mornings. I'm getting up now. My time has moved up to 4:30. I have to get up earlier. Ain't enough hours in the day. But I get up. I pray over your requests. I pray over the things concerning your life. And I want you to know that I'm praying for you. I am tremendously praying for you. I'm tremendously excited for your life, your future, and everything God has in store for you. Come on, you got 30 seconds. Type your prayer request. If you got a prayer request tonight, I want you to type it. There's somebody you want me to pray for. Type their name in the comments so that when I go back and look at this replay, I can see those names and I can include those names on my prayer request. If you got a prayer request that cannot be read out loud or seen in person, email your prayer request to info@rehabcc.org. That's info@rehabcc.org. I want you to email your prayer request and put it in the subject line, prayer request. It'll come to me. We'll take a look at that prayer request and be sure to pray for you and your situation. All right. Type in your prayer request tonight. Listen, clasp your hands like this as a sign, as a symbol of faith. I want you to put your hands together as a sign, a symbol of faith, just like this. We're getting ready to touch and agree. I want to pray for you. I want to pray over your request. I want to pray over everything that it is that you're designed. Those things that have been typed, even those things that have been thought that you don't have the strength to type. I'm praying for those things tonight. Come on, clasp your hands like this as a sign and symbol of faith. Let's pray together. Let's touch and agree. Father, in Jesus' name, thank you tonight for your word. And thank you for this unique time of sharing that you've given us, not just tonight, but throughout this whole series. Thank you, God, for waking up the calling and the purpose in somebody tonight. Somebody tonight who's either watching this live or watching the replay has discovered that they have a unique calling and purpose because there's nothing average about their lives. There's nothing mediocre about their lives. There's nothing that they desire in their lives to be average or mediocre. Thank you, God, for waking up the calling and the purpose in their lives. Now, God, I pray that you would give them the strength to go after quality over quantity, to understand that it's better that they're operating in a lane that reflects who they are and what they've been called to be than to have a whole lot of lanes. I speak this tonight over the lives of every called person on this call, over the lives of every chosen person on this call, over the lives of every called and chosen person watching this replay, that you would give all of us the strength and the courage to walk in the lane and the purpose that you've called us to have. Now, God, for every prayer request that's been typed, every prayer request that's been emailed, every prayer request that's been thought, but has not been committed to a chat box or to a piece of paper, I speak to these requests right now that, God, you would answer prayers, that you would heal bodies, make ways, open doors, meet needs, grant the heart desires of your people in a mighty way. I pray now, God, that you would this week literally open up windows of heaven, the windows of heaven, that you would pour out blessings, miracles, breakthroughs in the lives of your people like you absolutely never have before. Answer the requests of your people, and not just these requests, but especially those requests that are for somebody else, because we recognize that as we pray for the needs of someone else, that you always come through and meet our own needs. I thank you, God, for a week filled with miracles, overflow, made ways, met needs, open doors, and new opportunities. We count these things done in Jesus' name. Amen. Listen, type in the comments right now, it is so. It is so. Every time you say amen, you're simply saying it is so. I want you to type in the comments right now. It is so. It is so. It is so. Come on, do it quickly. It is so. It is so. Type it in the comments right now. It is so. It is so. I want you to know that everything that you've been praying for, everything that you've been hoping for, everything that you've been desiring in your life, God is making this thing happen for you. And all you've got to do is just trust him and believe him and walk in it. It is so. It is so. Listen, quickly, I'm going to challenge you to give. If this message, if this broadcast has blessed you tonight, if this ministry has been a blessing to you, maybe not just tonight, but especially during this pandemic season we've been in, I want to challenge you to give tonight. I want to personally thank all of you that have continued to give, that have not gotten tired, that have continued to sow and give, tithes, offerings, special seeds. I want to thank God for you tonight, especially you, because unfortunately COVID has not stopped the bills. We are still paying rent and utilities. But I'm grateful for those of you that are continuing to give and sow into the ministry. And I want you to know that God's going to bless you. And I'm so grateful for you. I want to challenge you tonight to give. This message bless you. If this message was for you, if this series was for you, this ministry has been a blessing to you, you can be a blessing to us in one of three ways. You can give via CashAPP, $REHABCCGIVE. You can give on our website, www.rehabcc.org, and simply choose online giving. Or you can give via cell phone direct by texting REHABWORKS to 88202. To 88202, text the word REHABWORKS. You'll get a prompt to your phone, follow the prompts, and you can give right from your cell phone. You can give one of these three ways. Again, CashAPP, $REHABCCGIVE. Through our website, www.rehabcc.org, choose online giving. Or you can text the word REHABWORKS to 88202. Text REHABWORKS to 88202 and right to your cell phone. The prompts will come. Simply follow the prompts and you can give right from your cell phone. I want to challenge you to give tonight. If this message, if this ministry has been a blessing to you, if this broadcast has been a blessing to you, if this series has been a blessing to you, I want to challenge you to give tonight. And again, I promise you, God's going to give it back to you. How? Good measure, pressed down, shaking together, running over. He will send people into your life to be a special blessing to you because of the way you give. I know that to be the case because I'm a living witness. Listen, y'all, I love y'all. I'm praying for you. I'm rooting for you. I want you to have a phenomenal week this week, a remaining week this week. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit that @ symbol, tag this video to 5 people, 5 of your friends on your friends list. Tell them to go back and check out the replay. I promise you, especially for innovators, creators, creatives, this message is going to be a blessing to them. This series is going to be a blessing to them. I want to challenge you to share it with someone. And then I want to challenge you to meet me Sunday morning, 9:08 a.m. sharp, right here at the Rehab Christian Center, right here virtually. And I promise you, God's going to bless you in a tremendous, tremendous, tremendous way. I love you guys. I'm praying for you. I'm rooting for you. Have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, don't forget to like our channel, share our channel with 5 people. And again, make plans to see us this Sunday morning, 9:08 a.m. for another very powerful word from the Lord. Listen, I love you guys. I'm praying for you. Peace and blessings.
Watching the Rehab Christian Center live experience. If this broadcast has been a blessing to you and you would like to be a blessing to our leader, Dr. Zeb Talley III, you can sow a seed into his ministry by CashAPP at $PastorZT3. It is our prayer that this message of hope encourage, enlighten, and empower you to be better. Please tune in Sunday at 9:08 a.m. for our Sunday morning experience. And as always, be blessed